So how are you today, Corey?
Nah, I'm good. I'm good. I mean, I think eventually I'm gonna need a nap, but hey,
Oh,
I think
okay.
I think I think it's about that time of day it happens, right?
Oh, wow. I don't know how to respond to that. Like for old people, you're not old. So I don't, I really don't know how to respond to that. So I'm just going to skip over that question.
Oh, I s-
Uh, well, I just wanted to say before we get started that I'm glad that the team had a little discussion before this and decided that we should take a little short pause from our programming just to share the vision a little bit more clearly so that people can get involved and know exactly what we're trying to do. So that's kind of the purpose of today's show.
okay.
Yes?
Yeah, that sounds good
Yeah.
to me. It makes sense.
You get
Yeah.
you get to be the host today. I'm not going to be the
Oh,
producer, but you get to be the host and ask the questions today. And I
okay.
get to be the guest. How about that?
All right. So Beverly Rivers is our guest today. That works. That works.
All right.
Okay. So we know that you had um a good outing last time when we had our guest on, right?
Yes.
And Miss Brooker and
Yeah.
Dr. Tennyson. That was a good opening premiere, and
Oh,
I really enjoyed that, and we got some good feedback from that. So, yeah, I think
yes.
we're headed in the right direction. Wouldn't you say so?
I would say so. And apparently, some others are also saying so, though they did not post it on the video. I've
Mhm.
gotten some phone calls, some messages, and actually had lunch with a new friend who was introduced to me by a mutual friend who
Mhm.
watched the show. And she doesn't watch, she is a substitute teacher. She's a teacher's assistant, I think it is. And
Okay.
she was very excited about the show. And she said, keep it coming because she really enjoyed the format. So I'm thankful that people who have seen it are excited about it like we are.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
too. And I've had a couple of people kind of sit in,
Mhm.
even a couple of coworkers, and they tuned in and they were like, "Man, yeah, we're looking forward to future shows." So that's always
Yeah,
a good thing. Yeah.
that is a good thing. And we do have some good stuff coming out too. I don't want to spill the beans, but I'm
Mhm.
excited about the next two shows we have coming up. It's going to be awesome. Yeah.
Well, that's good because you haven't even said anything to me about it, so it must be.
Okay. It is good. Trust me, it
Got you. All right.
is.
So with this pause to kind of, I guess, add some clarity to the direction that the organization is going in, right?
Mhm.
There are a few things that I would like to ask you so that you can put the information out firsthand. You know,
All
it's
right.
one thing for other people to read about it, but it's something altogether different to do a format like this where you can actually speak about it, and then, it actually offers a better avenue for people to grab hold of the vision and kind of run with it, I guess you can say. So,
Okay.
okay.
Fair enough. Sounds
All
good.
all right. So the first thing I would do, I would ask, if you will, take us back to the beginning and give everyone a brief overview of how the organization got started and bring us up to where we are now.
Mm. Okay. Well, I'll try to do that as in the Reader's Digest version, as compact as I can, because there's a
Okay.
lot of things that have happened over the last 20, almost 25 years.
Okay.
But basically, many years ago, 1993-ish, I was going through some challenges in life, and I uh, just began to write songs, begin to just download into my spirit. That's the best way that I can explain it. When I began to pray and seek God, I began to write songs supernaturally, and it was kind of a little bit spooky. a little scary because I just didn't know what was happening, but I did know the songs that I was hearing in my heart and mind were songs that had never been heard before. And the messages in the songs were messages of hope and ministry and, you know, faith. And so I knew something supernatural was going on. So all I did for about a year was just write songs down. And by a series of events, um, God had me meet a music producer on the freeway when my car broke down. So that's a whole nother long story.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I was just, you know, that's how I met him. I met his partner who pulled over to help me on the road. And while we were waiting for the tow, he gave me his card and he said he was a music producer and he had a studio, and that you know, and I said, "Wow, you do?" And I saw we're just chatting, and I told him I wrote music, but anyway, that led to him introducing me to Eric Hazlett, who is the person who produced the first music for the songs that I had been hearing in my spirit. So, and then Eric went on to introduce me to other people who enjoyed the music that I was writing and singing. I wasn't singing it anywhere, just we were just creating it in the studio. And those people were people who wanted to help me to get it recorded and published. And so when that happened, I started to go, wait a minute, people are giving money to me for this, and I need to do something. You know, you need to do
Mm-hmm.
something about this. And
Right.
so um, for a couple of years, people were inviting me to come and sing music after it got recorded. We started out by having a music release party, and it was held in San Jose at the San Jose Athletic Club. We had a radio personality came, and she was the MC. I never understood how I had all this attention because you know, I'm just a nobody, and nobody knew me, nobody knew my name, but I knew something supernatural was going on because all of these things started coming together, and I wasn't trying to make it happen. It was just God putting people in my life, and all the pieces started coming together. And so, nevertheless, when I had that first music release, right after that, many people began to invite me to come and sing. And Eric Hazlett put together a group of musicians to play at that release, and they became my first band called Break Free. And when that went on and on and on, and people were continuing to want to be a part of what was going on with the music and with the outreach, um, what happened is
Mm-hmm.
that's when we got serious about setting up some type of nonprofit organization,
Okay.
because it just kept, you know, it just kept rolling. And that's how BCPA started. The musicians that were in the band at that time, we got together, we got the paperwork signed up, and we started BCPA so that those who wanted to support our community outreach would be able to do so and get a tax deductible donation receipt for it. So that's really how it started. We were being called to places like 12-step ministries, prison ministries, coffee houses, fairs, even to some Christian businesses who had like holiday parties and they didn't want just secular music, and they asked us if we would come play. So we had the opportunity to play in some pretty amazing places, including on TBN. At one time we were on, I forget the name of the show right now, but we went on calling ourselves the Break Free Ambassadors because we hadn't chosen a name.
Right.
And
Okay.
so they had to come over and play. So that's how BCPA started.
Mm-hmm.
And we have done many things over the years, inviting other artists to be a part of reaching out in the community in whatever art form that they chose. Some of them were dancers, some of them were singers, some musicians, um, some were, what's the word, interpretive, like skit makers, that kind of thing.
Okay.
We've done quite a few things like that in the past, and every year we would have a artist forum where we bring the artists together. They talk about, any challenges they were having, any needs they had, and the board of directors would try to help meet the needs that they had so they could continue to go out in the community and do outreach. So that's the way it was.
Okay.
And then a lot of things happened. In 2020,
Mm-hmm.
let me back up. Let's back up one step.
Okay.
Before 2020, I was invited to go to Japan to do outreach in Japan, in Osaka, for about 2.5 years.
Really?
And yes, and so I was asked to come and teach gospel music to
Mm-hmm.
the people in the community who really love the sound of gospel music, whether they are Christian or not. They just love the sound of the music. And so it would draw people to the church. So it was a way to get people to come to the church and hear the gospel message. And so I did that for about 2 years. And then after coming back to America,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, things were changing quite a lot. The outreach really became just myself and a few others just going out to do outreach. But then 2020 hit, and going out and doing concerts in person, it was something we couldn't do anymore. We were at a screeching halt, and we really didn't know how to acclimate or how to adjust. So we pulled everything back, and we kind of had to think about it. We had to think about how can we continue to do outreach the way the world is doing it now, which everything is on the internet. Everything is virtual. Not everything, but most things are virtual, especially in 2020 it was. And so now, the reason that we have made this adjustment is so that we can be um, so we can catch up with the world. I'm not sure how to say that, so that we can also continue to do what we love to do, which is to reach the people in the community who may be hurting, who may not know the love of Jesus Christ, who may be challenged in some way. And we can still continue to reach out with them with the love of God through our artistry, through our music and testimony. So that's kind of what's happening. That's that kind of I hope that brought you up to date on where it was and where it is now.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I think that covers everything that most people would want to know about how you
Mhm.
guys got started, your
Mhm.
journey throughout that time frame, and then post COVID, really, um, because as you look at the world and see the transition that had to be made as a result of the pandemic, then
Mhm.
yeah, so post COVID, this is what it looks like, and now you're in a sort of a relaunch phase, so to speak. So
Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
trying to make that adjustment, and yeah, the challenges that go along with that. So yeah.
Yes. And
Okay.
oftentimes, when I know for myself, I really love in-person things. I love to do
Hmm.
things in person. So it was a challenge for me to embrace this new way of doing things. I had to just pull back and pray about it and say, look, well, Lord, I have a couple choices here. I can just shut it down and just say, well, we did a lot of good things with BCPA and now it's over, and close the door and shut the
Hmm.
nonprofit down. Or I can find a new way to try to keep it going. And so after 22 plus years of doing this, I just didn't have the heart to say, let's just shut it down. If it's going to be shut down, I would like to see that I gave every effort to keep it going and to pass the baton to someone else after me to also keep it going.
Okay.
Mhm.
No, and then so another part of bringing us up to where we are is you reached out to me and asked if I would like to be a part of the um the relaunch.
Yes.
And I was happy to do it after I sat and I thought about everything that you just said and clarified.
Mhm.
I was more than happy to get involved. Why? Because here was an opportunity for me to showcase my behind the scenes type of talent, right?
Mhm.
With
Mhm.
the ability to do some editing, some video editing, and getting things put together to present to the public,
Right.
so that they can actually see what's going on with the organization and get involved at some point. Um, so yeah, I was more than happy to jump on board and join you in this endeavor. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I'm glad that you did, because whenever you are the leader of any type of an organization, you find yourself
Mhm.
being the chief cook and bottle washer. And it
Mhm.
is, that's not always the best way to do anything. It's always good to have other hands, other eyes, other opinions, and, you know, to add some different seasoning to a thing. So I'm happy
Yeah.
you're here. And I'm happy for our other persons who are behind the scene who are also back and a part of BCPA too.
Okay. Yeah, I'm glad to be a part of it. So I'm with you. All right. So just to transition just a tad bit. So when it comes to this new direction, you decided to start I guess you can call it broadcast or show, right? So that's
Yeah.
where I come into play,
Hmm.
where we do this type of thing together. I'm the producer. You bring guests on, you bring talent on,
Hmm.
and you do interviews just so that they can put their voice out and express, their views about something or showcase their talents, right?
Right.
So when it comes to that aspect of everything, what was kind of like your vision when you decided to go in that direction? What was the motivation behind that?
Well, the motivation behind the talk show is
Hmm.
that a lot of times things are happening in our world so quickly. News
Hmm.
can be, by the time you hear the news report, something else has happened and something else has happened. There's so many things that are being thrown at us in these last days that we're living in. And I just believe in my heart that many of us don't have a forum or a place to be able to discuss these things openly from a Christian perspective. Now, I know there are a lot of talk shows out there, a lot of Christian talk shows out there, a lot of Bible studies out there, a lot of things out there. But my vision for this is to talk about the things that not everyone really wants to discuss. They
Hmm.
don't necessarily want to bring it up, but I'll bring it up here. And I believe that it's something that will help the community to heal, to feel better about the situation, to have a voice in the situation. So I created Hope so that we could share discussions about topics that may be difficult or that may be in the news. And by this, I mean things like, um, violence in the schools, um, suicide, aging, people getting older like myself and becoming senior citizen, and life changes and your whole life is different than it used to be, and how to cope with these things and how to still have hope even though these things are going on, how to still keep your head up and keep looking up, because that is what we used to do face to face. That's what we
Okay.
used to do, is to encourage people, no matter what you're going through, keep looking up to the author and the finisher of your faith. And so we want to do that now through this talk show by bringing on guests who have different things to share that might help people in the community.
Okay. But wouldn't that be a little challenging trying to find participants to, volunteer to come on and spend a little time going back and forth with you, so to speak, to express to express their views? Wouldn't that be a little
uh,
challenging?
well, here's my litmus test for everything. Okay.
Okay.
Remember, I shared at the beginning of our conversation that when all that music started to come to me, all the pieces just fell into place. God just opened doors. He sent people to help me do that music. I didn't know anything about music studios, producers, fundraising, none of
Mhm.
it.
Okay.
But God opened the door for me to be able to do those things. And so my litmus test, even for this new way of reaching out, is this: if God is with us, he will open doors. He will send donors. He will send helpers. He will send artists. He will send people who want to be on my talk show. If he does not, then that means maybe I missed some communication, and maybe I need to be doing something differently. But thus far, I've
Okay.
had people wanting to come on
Mhm.
the show already, and willing to come in. What did you say? Go back and forth with me. uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had some people who are excited to do it and to be able to share their knowledge and their skill so that others can be blessed by it. So I look at it as God opening doors and touching the heart of people to be a part of what we're doing.
Okay. Now, touching on that a little bit, when I say go back and forth, I mean, I know you ask the questions, they answer the questions. So it's not like this heated topic that you're actually butting heads on and you're, fussing back and forth, but just a a simple dialogue. Hey, how do you feel about this? What
Mhm.
about that? They answer the questions, and
Right.
just just put some things out there
Mhm.
that people may not even know. So
Right, right. No, I'm
so it's
I'm not a
Mhm.
confrontational host,
Mm,
but I just feel like everyone has an opinion. We don't
right.
have to always agree on what it is that our opinion is, but we have to just remain respectful. That's kind of my criteria. Be
Yeah.
respectful, share your opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So along those same lines, how do you come up with the ideas for the shows though? Do they
Um,
just Are they just like random thoughts, or
well,
is it how does that work?
No, basically, I do keep abreast of what's going on in the world, in the
Mhm.
news. Um, I I don't saturate myself in it, but I look at enough things to know what's going on. That people are uh, concerned about food shortages and gas shortages, and um, they're concerned about the effects of the supply chain and being able to get the things that they need for their household and for their family. So I pay attention to all of these things,
Mhm.
and as I'm paying attention, I ask myself, what would I be wanting to know? What questions would I want to know? And so um, once again, I somehow people who are good at sharing those thoughts or have some experience in those thoughts seem to come into my life, and I ask them, will you be willing to come on my show and talk to us about that?
Right.
And thus far, I've had some success at it. So that's how I pick the topics. I don't. They're not. I can't. I don't. I really don't know how I pick the topics. They just come to me. I'll put it that way.
Okay. So
Mhm.
basically just knowing what's going on around you, and
Yes.
then
And
you
then,
kind of, go from there, and whatever you're leaning more towards, that's you
mhm.
kind of go with that.
Yes, I try to pick.
Okay.
I try to pick topics that will um, be on the hearts and minds of people, and
Okay.
especially Christian people, and things that might cause them to have walk away from the show with some new understanding or some new tools and abilities to make maybe positive changes in their life.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, and again, so far so good. We're, we started out, we had a great first broadcast, and we're just piggybacking off of that, and we're keeping it moving. So,
Yes,
okay.
yes. Mhm.
All right. So I know we've discussed before about some of the goals, and one of the goals that you mentioned to me, which I found interesting, um, was that you wanted to have artists showcase their talents, right?
Yes.
By what's called speaking from their art. And I found that interesting because when you say speaking from your art, the other thing that kind of rings in your head is speaking from your heart. Oh, just speak from your heart, but speaking
Mhm.
from your art. So can you talk a
Mhm.
little bit about that and how that kind of unfolded?
Yes. Well, it's kind of a play on words.
Mm-hmm. I thought
Because
so.
it sounds just like I'm just going to speak from my heart, just like
Mm-hmm.
heartful outreach, positive encouragement. It's kind of the
Right.
same thing. I'm speaking from my heart, but I'm going to use my art to do so. In other
Right.
words, I'm a singer, so rather than me talking a lot is a it may or may not appeal to people. I don't know, because they're like, isn't she going to sing something? Because they're used to me singing.
Right.
But um, always, when I sing, I am speaking from my art. I'm using my art to tell the story or to share my passion for the Lord Jesus Christ. And so when I say that about other artists, whatever art they do, even if they're a painter, there are some
Right.
people who paint things like with music playing and they just get inspired and 15 minutes later it's a work of art. So there when I say speaking from your art, let's just say it's a singer like
Mm-hmm.
myself, or it's a band, a group of people who are singing together and they are passionate about, you know, sharing their love for Jesus Christ, and they will do that by singing their favorite song or something that they wrote. Somebody who is a poet may they may have a poem that they wrote about what's going on in the world today and how by trusting in the Lord, they can cope with what's going on in the world today. And they may have a poem they want to read, or they may be a spoken word person who can just say those words rhythmically. And, so that's what I mean when I say speaking from your art. Uh, Sometimes people will listen to a song before they listen to me talk. Sometimes
Okay.
people will listen to um, an instrumentalist play something with no words and be at peace, causing them to be at peace and be calmed down by that before they are calmed by other things. So that's what I mean when I say speaking from your art. And I would like to see other artists share their gift that God has given them
Mm.
and uh, either testify through the music or through the artwork, or even share a testimony and also share the gift that God has given them.
Okay. So now, if I was an artist, how would I do that though?
Well, basically, what I envision is for the artist to record themselves sharing their testimony if they wanted to
Mm-hmm.
do that, sharing their spoken word if they wanted to do that, sharing their song if they wanted to do that, and
Mm-hmm.
um, or some combination of the two. Some people say, this is what happened to me this week, and I was struggling, and this is what happened, and this song came to me, and then they sing their song.
Right.
So I want
Yeah.
people to be as natural as possible, um, because the whole world is so staged in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And by that I mean it's like, that's one thing that I probably dislike the most about doing things online. Everything is so staged and polished.
Yeah. Yeah.
And and you kind of almost have to be, because people are going to see that same thing over and over and over, unlike when it's live you see it once and that's it.
Right.
But yes, I just want them to do something that's very natural and sing their song, do their art, and get someone to record it for you, either with an iPhone or with your tablet or whatever you have, and get your best presentation and send it in
Okay.
uh, to BCPA, and we'll review it. And if it needs polishing, we'll talk about it. But for the most part, most people have good gadgets at home because everybody's on the internet, right? They're using all their
Yeah.
tools.
Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I mean, that's again, that's another, I guess you can say, challenge, because when you put the information out there that you want feedback or you want participants to come on and be a part of something like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
The challenge is for people who are shy, who are not really um, built for this, so to speak, which I'm not, by the way. Um,
But you're here. How about that?
yeah, yeah, you're
What
right.
can
And
one
so,
say?
yeah, I mean, and so if you take me as an example, I don't really consider myself a speaker or a behind the mic type of person. I'm more of a behind the scenes type person. So if I can do this, then artists who are good at what they do or great at what they do, I think they
Mhm,
should, take a chance, just
mhm.
go ahead and record something, put it out there. You never know who you're going to encourage.
You never know. And also, my vision for that is once I receive, let's say I received something and it was just amazing. Someone sent in themselves singing with a guitar and they were sharing their
Mhm.
testimony and then they broke into song and sang their song and they recorded it and sent it in. I would like to use that as maybe an introduction to the show sometime, you know.
Hmm.
It could
Okay.
be like when we start the show with that person's testimony and the introduction, or maybe at the end, it depends. And then for the rest of that month or whatever, maybe that week, it depends on how many participants we get. So
Hmm.
for at least 2 weeks, that person's video clip will be on our website on the page for showcasing the artists. So there's a
Okay.
artist showcase page on our website, and their video clip will be there for anyone who visits our website to continue to see that person and to kind of get to know them as an artist, and maybe even invite them to come and be a part of other outreaches in other places.
Oh man, that sounds good. That sounds exciting. So,
Yeah.
which leads into my next question, right? Which will be our final question, because I know we can continue on and on and on, but I know we have to cut it at some point. So
Right.
it leads right into this. So now that our viewers have an idea of how we got to where we are, right?
Hmm.
If they want to get involved and support the vision and the direction of the organization, how are they able to do that?
Okay. So the very first two ways would be to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Okay. And I know that a lot of times people are thinking, well, subscribe so you can do this and that. The whole purpose for us wanting subscribers is to encourage us to keep going because we know people love the show and they're watching it, and that the volume of viewers is growing. So we set a small goal of 1,000 viewers to
Mhm.
subscribe to our channel so that we can be encouraged to continue to create this material. And so today I set a deadline date for that. I mean, sometimes you say do it, but by when? So I would
Right.
like to see 1,000 subscribers by September 30th. So if anyone watching the program right now, if you like this content, if you're enjoying it, if you think that this vision is viable, please subscribe and please tell 10 other friends and have them come over and subscribe, and we'll have that thousand viewers in no time. That's what we want. Okay. That's one way to get involved. The second
Okay.
way to get involved is what we just talked about, for the artists to speak from their art. Go ahead and submit your material. I am also a vocal coach, so don't worry about if we need to tweak it or we need to. I mean, I will be completely honest with you and make sure that you are going to put your best foot forward. And then, of course, Corey is going to make sure that when it shows up in a video, it's going to be your best foot forward on our show. So
That's right.
that's the second way to get involved. And the third way to get involved is also to become a supporter. And you can support financially by by becoming a sponsor to the program. And a sponsor is just someone who's in business, and they want us to mention their business on the air and tell people what specials they have going on. So it's like advertising somewhat. And
Okay.
and they can sponsor the program for a donation to our general fund so that we can keep this going. And then there may be people who just want to give. And if that's you, that we would love to have you give. You just need to contact Stephanie, who is our treasurer. And you can contact Stephanie just at Stephanie at bcpainc.org. So she will tell you the different ways that you can give to support the organization financially. So yeah, that's basically it.
Okay. That's good information. So I'm quite sure the viewers who are interested in becoming a part of, whether it's sponsorship, whether it's just donating, whether it's just giving out of a cheerful heart, or wanting to
Mhm.
see the program continue,
Yes.
they'll use that information and they'll do their part. And whatever they decide to do is welcomed and appreciated. So
Mhm.
did you have any last words? Did you want to just kind of close it out
Last
with?
words.
Hmm.
My message of hope,
Yeah.
which
Well,
is,
your message of hope, or just to let people know exactly. Um, I guess you can just kind of sum up everything,
Mhm.
from beginning to end. This is how we started. We made it through the pandemic, so on and so forth.
Okay. Well, once again, I'm thankful for the journey that I've had with BCPA over the years, and the places that it has taken me. Places I never thought I'd go, to Japan, to England, to um, other places, and all over the U.S. And I am very, very thankful for that. I'm thankful for all the people who have supported the organization in the past, and I am prayerful that some of those supporters will return, and not only that, will begin to find other supporters who see that this is the new way to reach people online, given that we are still in a pandemic, and we still need to find ways to reach out. So I am thankful for all those who have participated in our launch. Like I said, there is other great material coming up, and even though Corey is trying to pretend like he doesn't know about it, he's just trying to not let the cat out of the
Out
bag.
the bag.
We actually have two really great shows coming
uh,
up. And the team said, Bev, you need to make sure people understand what you're doing. If you want to get more subscribers, they need to understand what you're doing, so that when I have these other persons who are going to be coming on the show very soon, we actually have viewers who can really appreciate what they have to share. So that's kind of my heart in a nutshell. I I can't think of anything else to say except God bless you. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for helping
yeah.
us to do this work. This broadcast really is all about hope and helping people to stay encouraged through all the things that are going on. That is my message of hope to everyone. It's like, don't let the things in the world bring you down. Don't forget who you serve. You serve a God who owns everything, everything. And so he has your back, your front, your top, your bottom, both sides, and all the way around. You are covered. As long as you stay with God, you're covered. And so there's the little song that I used to do with the band, and and it's just something to encourage yourself. It just goes, sing a little song to help you carry on. Sing a little song to help you tarry. Sing a little song to help you tarry on. Sing a little song to help you tarry. Bada bada boom 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 bada 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 boom boom bada bada boom 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 bada boom boom. When it seems like everywhere you turn, trouble's gaining ground. No matter how hard you try, they don't turn around. Be still, stop running, reach down deep within and sing this little song to get you going again. Sing a little song to help you carry on. Sing a little song to help you tarry. Sing a little song to help you carry on. Sing a little song to help you tarry. Bada, bada, boom, 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 boom.
So what a
Hallelujah.
way to end it.
Yes.
Oh,
Stay encouraged because God is still on the throne and he loves you and he's got your back.
amen. Amen. So with that, there's nothing else for me to say. So we'll sign off and stay tuned for future broadcasts and be encouraged. We love
Yes.
you.
We
Take
love
care.
you. See you next time.
All right. Take care.